How are we all doing today on this Monday, June 15th, and welcome to Glenn's Dynamic Sports Corner on 12OZSportsRadio.com. I am your host, Glenn Kaplan. We are live in Baltimore, Maryland, which is home of the Baltimore Orioles and the Baltimore Ravens. Who's excited for today's show? I hope you all enjoyed your wonderful weekend and are ready for this weekend, today's show to start. Nonetheless, and there is some breaking news on this show. There will be a SportsCenter special tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern on ESPN with Mike Greenberg. It's a SportsCenter special. He will be talking to the NHL, the MLS, the WNBA, the MLB, the NBA, and the NFL commissioners about their plans for returning to sports. And it appears we are getting closer and closer day by day because we have NASCAR already began. The PGA Tour, I actually happened to watch it yesterday in Texas. I wasn't in Texas, I watched it on TV, and it was played in Fort Worth, Texas, It was the nice greens that I got to saw. That was a nice golf course, and I was texting a friend about it this morning before I happened to get on the show. So, with this SportsCenter special tonight, I made a list, and I am curious to see, I want to hear answers from the most to the least, as in, who do I want to hear from the most, and who do I want to hear from the least? This is, the 78th show today I'm doing? The obvious answer I want to hear the most is Rob Manfred of Major League Baseball, and I'm going to get to him later on in the show. The second most I want to hear from National Hockey League Gary Bettman, because I've just got a curious of hockey, and maybe they have a decision on when Phase 4 is going to be, and I think I'm just going to get into that in just a minute. The third most I want to hear from, and I've never watched this sport. I'm curious of how the MLS is going to work. I hear it's going like World Cup style almost. It's like going to a tournament of some sorts. Maybe I'll get to watch it later on, depending when all the other sports come back. I believe MLS is coming back, early July? And then, number 4, the NBA. I know there's all some sort of political scam stuff right now going on. I'm not going to get into that stuff. I'm just not going to get into it. I know the NBA is saying, we're playing, and that's it. Starting July 30th. And they were going to start July 31st, but they pushed it up a day. And then number 5, NFL. I'm not too really interested in the NFL because the NFL is still a few weeks away. Not a few weeks away, It's a few months away. And what's funny is I remember seeing Scott Hansen's tweet yesterday. He does a phenomenal job on NFL Red Zone. I love watching his stuff every Sunday. And he's like, 7 hours of commercial-free football start now. Then I'm just here like, we don't need to really hear much from the NFL because it's like, training camp begins at the end of July, all that fun stuff, and then you got, because you had the first Thursday being September 10th, and then you actually have your first full Sunday of the NFL season on September 13th. With your first 2 Monday night games being on the 14th of September, which is the next day. And then, last, and I really not going to care what the WNBA has to say, honestly. That's just, it's good that the WNBA gets to have its games, but hey, you might see more WNBA than the MLB this year. And I know some guys are big in the WNBA. I know a lot of NBA guys like watching the the WNBA. Yeah, it's its own kind. But it's like, the ratings aren't probably very high for that stuff. And I'm sure you're going to be in a bubble just like the NBA as well. Moving on to my first topic today. The NHL, baby. Yes, sir. So Phase 2 just began last Monday, the 8th of June. We are in the 15th of June, and they've already announced plans for Phase 3. And those plans for Phase 3 features that training camp will begin July 10th for the 24 teams. And I saw somewhere yesterday on Twitter that in this now Phase 2 that they're currently in, they can't have a training camp yet. Maybe they're going to extend it to more than 6 people. Maybe they'll extend it to 8 to 10. But the full entire team cannot practice together until July 10th. So now comes down to this question. If training, assuming everything goes to plan and you start training camp July 10th, how many weeks do you need to prepare? Well, the NBA's giving the guys a month. Maybe the NHL does the same. Maybe it's a little less. I said for the NHL that today, as of today, if it's on schedule, because the Stanley Cup playoffs like to start on a Wednesday. Excuse me. Because they like to start on a Wednesday, I truly, fully believe that you're going to see the Stanley Cup playoffs begin July 29th. That may be a little bit early. That may be just not enough time yet. Or it may be August 5th, which may be more reasonable. You start the playoffs then. And then you have to figure out when your end date's going to be. Sometime in October. And then you got to figure out the NHL draft. And another day for the draft lottery. If the first draft lottery doesn't work out well. Well, this is a step in the right direction. When you have announced in Phase 3. Oh, and another thing, speaking of phases, because there are 4 phases. It appears as if they're planning for Phase 4, which is get your hub cities down and find a date for the playoffs. No date has been announced yet for the playoffs. But remember when I said there would be 10 cities that the NHL had on its mind for where the season would resume? So here were the 10 cities that the NHL had on its radar. Vancouver, Toronto, Edmonton, Pittsburgh, Chicago, Las Vegas, Dallas, Columbus, Minneapolis, St. Paul, and Los Angeles. There have already been 3 cities that have been eliminated. Dallas, I'm actually surprised about because Governor Abbott, the governor there in Texas, has actually allowed in arenas to have a capacity up to 25%, but I guess it didn't work out for the NHL. Los Angeles and Minneapolis, St. Paul have also been eliminated, but let's be honest here. It's not a surprise that these 2 cities have been eliminated. And these 2 cities have probably been eliminated probably because of the riots and the protests that have been going on ever since the death of George Floyd, nonetheless. That's probably why those 2 cities are not in play. And I think this is a very smart move by the NHL. Nonetheless. Now, here's another city that's basically out. Chicago's basically out at this point. So we are down to 5 cities. Technically, 6 cities. Las Vegas, Pittsburgh, Columbus, Toronto, Vancouver, and Edmonton. And there are reports out there that Vegas is one of the cities will be in play. Actually, it is going to be in Vegas. Because according to Newsday, the New York Rangers and the New York Islanders are supposed to go into Vegas, which means that the entire Eastern Conference is going to Vegas. And you know which team loves that? The Washington Capitals got to be sitting there this morning, and all their fans, whether you're living in Northern Virginia in the D.C. area, or you're in Southern Maryland and you're like, this is where we won the Stanley Cup, we get to play here again. Boy, oh boy, do I absolutely love the idea of playing in Vegas and having old memories reunite and give them a spark. Ask Alex Ovechkin and Evgeny Kuznetsov and Nicholas Backstrom how they would feel about playing in Vegas again. Just ask them how they would feel, because Ovechkin, the heart, behind, soul of your Washington Capitals, would absolutely love to go back there. And then they also have to deal with teams like the Boston Bruins and the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Pittsburgh Penguins, for that matter, and the Philadelphia Flyers. Personally, I don't think Washington gets out of the East. But maybe it gives them a spark and another chance to win another Stanley Cup. So there's the Vegas idea. So then, if the Gary Bettman and the Canadian government cannot come down to an agreement, it's Columbus or Pittsburgh. And the West, I think, will go to Columbus. I just don't see Pittsburgh. I don't see Pittsburgh happening. But if they do reach an agreement with the Canadian government, the Toronto would be the city. Forget Edmonton and Vancouver, because Edmonton and Vancouver are in the playoffs, and the NHL does not want a team having a significant advantage. And that's why the East is going out West, and that's why the West is going to go out East. And also you got the league offices in Toronto. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Those are where the headquarters are. You know, in games where sometimes they're on replay and trying to review something, it's like, we're on the phone with Toronto. Yes, that makes the most perfect sense, Toronto. But it's going to be Columbus if they can't get a deal done. Nonetheless, and I'm really excited to see where this is all going to go. Next up on my list, MLB no decision. Yes, Rob Manfred and the owners and the players, continue to mess up as you will, because when you continue to mess up and do so, you're just going to find a way to ruin your sport, aren't you? Aren't you going to find a way to mess up your sport? So there's been absolutely no decision on when baseball is going to be played this season. The players and the owners are becoming greedy and fighting with each other for money, and completely no one is budging. So the MLB is just going to have to step in here, because the owners and the players basically can't agree to anything. And what's also scary for the sport is that the CBA expires after 2021. And does that mean they're going to have to get a salary cap for 2022? And is there going to be a baseball strike? Those are some sign-telling times in baseball. We got some bad times in baseball right now. And baseball's probably losing fans as we speak. But you're probably going to lose even more if you don't have baseball. According to Dan Clark Sports on Twitter, he posted, MLB will announce an approximate 50-game season early this week, potentially even today. Highly unlikely. I don't even know. They can't even get their own heads out of their rear ends, the major leagues. It's the one sport that can't get their own heads out of their rear ends. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. I mean, the supposed America's pastime, the sport that supposedly everyone loves, and you just can't figure it out. And here we are in the middle of June already. Wasn't spring training supposed to be restarting by now? And weren't we supposed to have opening day on the 4th of July? And meanwhile, we're just here like, they just continue to butt heads. It's just going downhill. Because you got the NHL, the NBA, and the NFL, which I think are the three best pro sports leagues right now other than Major League Baseball. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, come on, get your act together, baseball. Maybe we see somewhere between 44 and 50 games. But the way it seems like right now, we may only get 5 games. That's not even a season. It seems like all sports have a plan except them. You know what it's like? And for all you SpongeBob SquarePants fans out there, there was a picture of Patrick Star. And there's one episode where Patrick Star is trying to build something. And all the other sports are like Tough Patrick. And Major League Baseball is like, it's like Patrick on his forehead. He has a piece of wood, a nail, and he's just holding a hammer in his hand, basically known saying, I don't know what to do. And that's what the MLB is basically like right now. They're basically in quicksand, and they got to get out of it. So I'm going to go back to some of the tweets I found on Dan Clark Sports Twitter page about this sport. So he posted about Rob Manfred's resume. Number 1, push to implement foolish rule changes. Number 2, push to destroy minor league baseball. Number 3, poor handling of Astros saga. Number 4, poor handling of COVID-19 negotiations. Oh boy. Well, he couldn't be more correct about Rob Manfred. And Manfred has not done a very good job. Maybe the owners should push him out, but they won't because they side with him. The players are so frustrated right now, it isn't even funny nonetheless. Hopefully this MLB saga can end sooner rather than later, so we could begin baseball season in July or August, nonetheless. So Dan Clark Sports, he also posted on his Twitter page that when appointed commissioner, Manfred stated that his primary goals were, number 1, youth outreach, number 2, embracing technology, number 3, quickening the pace of play, number 4, strengthening players' relations, number 5, creating a more unified MLB. He's only achieved the second one. Everything else massive fails. Of course he's correct. And I'm sure Bud Selig, the former MLB commissioner, must be having a stroke somewhere right now when he sees all of this. Because baseball is not heading in the right direction. You know the band One Direction? Yeah, they're going one direction. They're going the wrong direction and not the right direction. That's what baseball is becoming. And it's just a sad song to see baseball becoming like this. I have no pleasure in basically talking about baseball. I just got no pleasure. I really don't. I don't have pleasure talking about how bad the marketing brand and everything else in this sport has become. But maybe it will heal itself one day. And speaking of healing wounds, maybe these teams' farm systems will be healed after they had a 5-round draft on Wednesday and Thursday. And let me start with my MLB draft recap of the 37 picks that went. No, I'm not going to grade all however how many picks went in the first 5 and the only 5 rounds, and you're going to go back to 20 next year. The number 1 pick, Detroit Tigers, they selected Spencer Torkelson, third baseman, first baseman from Arizona State. That's a grade of an A+. The best player in this draft. Supposedly, Alex Avila knew something that I didn't. That they have him at third base, and that's 2, and that's why they find a ton of value here with Torkelson. Number 2, the Baltimore Orioles selected Heston Kjerstad, outfielder, Arkansas. I gave that grade a C. Listen, I understand they need everything position-wise, the Orioles. And I heard this guy's supposed to have some sort of power bat. Yeah, a team that's really bad needs everything. At the same time, I thought Kjerstad was a reach, and I thought he was going to go in the 10-12 range, not the top 3 range. Number 3, Miami Marlins, Max Meyer, right-handed pitcher, Minnesota. I give that a grade of a C. Now, I thought Meyer was going to be the 10-12 range. This is another reach here by Derek Jeter and the Marlins group. But the thing about the Marlins is this. The Miami Marlins had developed one of the better farm systems in baseball. So they must know something, and they need to find their ace of the future. Remember Jose Fernandez? who tragically died in a boat accident in 2016. And I was texting my friend about this. This was sometime last week. Because that year, and then the next year, they were ready to turn the corner. They were ready to turn the corner. And then all of a sudden, boom, the tragedy happened. And they couldn't recover. So now they have to rebuild. Number 4, Kansas City Royals. Asa Lacy, left-handed pitcher. Texas A&M, grade A+. Kansas City Royals take the best player here. So I really like the pick. Number 5, Toronto Blue Jays. Austin Martin, second baseman, outfielder, Vanderbilt. First of all, Martin should have went number 2 or number 3. How he slips to number 5 is beyond my comprehension. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Kevin Biggio, Bo Bichette. Now you add Austin Martin. Martin's probably going to play the outfield because you got Biggio and Bichette at second base. Number 6, Seattle Mariners. Emerson Hancock, right-handed pitcher, Georgia, grade B+. Justin Dunn's in your system. Justice Sheffield's in your system. Now add Emerson Hancock. You don't have Felix Hernandez anymore. Maybe Hancock becomes your Felix Hernandez. So, good value, good pick here. Number 7, Pittsburgh Pirates. Nick Gonzalez, shortstop, second baseman, New Mexico State. Grade B. So, the Pirates, they need everything that they can get. The Pittsburgh Pirates, they're basically starting from scratch. And I usually don't hear of guys like from New Mexico State going this high in the MLB draft. So this guy must be very special. He must have all the tools and all the talent to be a very flexible caliber player moving forward. But I know how the Pirates farm system works. You draft a guy with potential and you ruin him. Hopefully, maybe with the new regime in place, you don't ruin this kid. Number 8, San Diego Padres. Robert Hassel III, outfielder, Independence, Tennessee High School, grade a B. I thought Hassel III was going to go in the 16-17 range, but maybe the Padres kind of reached a little bit, but he also has a ton of potential. And the Padres love drafting high schoolers. Number 9, Colorado Rockies. Zach Veen, outfielder, Spruce Creek High School, Florida. Grade of an A, lefty bat, smooth swing, could become like Charlie Blackmon, and the Rockies are known for their bats in the high altitude. Number 10, Los Angeles Angels. Reed Detmers, left-handed pitcher, Louisville. Grade of an A. The Los Angeles Angels need pitching in the farm system. You have a ton of bats. Rendon, Pujols, Trout, Ohtani, Upton, Simmons. You basically have it. Now you just need the arms. Oh, and you got Joe Adell, who's waiting in the ranks as well. Number 11, Chicago White Sox. Garrett Crochet, left-handed pitcher, Tennessee, grade C. Crochet, I thought he was going to go in the 19-20 range when the New York Mets and the Milwaukee Brewers were picking. I thought the White Sox reached a little bit for a lefty. I didn't think it was worth reaching for a left-handed pitcher. I thought they could have gotten the best player available because that's where I think they usually do that a lot when it comes to drafting. But I guess they felt like they needed some arms in the system. Number 12, Cincinnati Reds. Austin Hendrick, outfielder, West Allegheny High School, Pennsylvania. Makes a lot of sense. Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, geographically is not far. And here's what I don't understand. The Pittsburgh Pirates. You have a guy from your own backyard in West Allegheny High School, which is basically, 10, 15 minutes from PNC Park? And you don't draft a Pittsburgh kid? You may regret that one, because maybe Austin Hendrick is going to be a better player in the long run than Nick Gonzalez will be. So I'm curious how good Austin Hendrick will be. And another thing Cincinnati's good at, drafting bats. Excuse me. Number 13. I gave that grade an A+. Number 13, San Francisco Giants. Patrick Bailey, a catcher from North Carolina State. Grade of a C. Now, very interesting that San Francisco goes catchers back-to-back years, and Joey Bart was the pick last year. Joey Bart is supposedly the catcher of the future for Buster Posey. And you draft another catcher here. Will one of them go to first base? And there was something interesting that somebody said on ESPN during the draft. The San Francisco thinks the universal DH is coming. Will the universal DH be coming? And if it is coming, then it's a good pick. If it's not, then maybe you have to use one of these, Bailey or Bart, as a trade chip, or move them to first base. Number 14, Texas Rangers. Justin Foscue, second baseman, Mississippi State. Grade B. Foscue, a good second baseman. Texas isn't known really for having a deep farm system, but Texas is going to need some skill players, and there's one of them with that pick. Number 15, Philadelphia Phillies. Mick Abel, right-handed pitcher, Jesuit High School, Oregon. Grade B-. I really thought they were going to take their own kid from Central Bucks East High School, not far from Philly, Nick Bitsko, the right-handed pitcher. I was a little surprised they didn't go that route. I was a little surprised the Phillies didn't go that route. I guess they liked the kid across the country better, or they didn't feel like he was a good fit. Number 16, Chicago Cubs. Ed Howard, shortstop, Mount Carmel High School, Illinois. I give this grade of a B. I give the grade of a B because you already have Javi Baez, and he's not going anywhere anytime soon, unless your plans is moving this Ed Howard guy to second base. Here's what's also interesting. Ed Howard was on the Jackie Robinson West Little League team from the Chicago area. So it makes all the sense in the world here. And I find it very fascinating. And they were showing highlights of him against Monet Davis when she was a stud in the Little League World Series. I just find a lot of this stuff fascinating. Number 17, Boston Red Sox, Nick York, second baseman, Archbishop Mitty High School, California, grade of a D. I did not see this guy in my top 40 on any list whatsoever. Maybe Chaim Bloom, the general manager, knows something better than us, because he actually is one of the reasons why that Tampa Bay had the number 1 ranked farm system, but the Boston Red Sox have a long, long way to go. Number 18, the Arizona Diamondbacks. Bryce Jarvis, right-handed pitcher from Duke University. I give this grade of a B. Now, Arizona is developing one of the more better farm systems in the major leagues. Arizona may be closer to becoming a serious title contender again, more than we think. As in, maybe they're in a year or two away because of this farm system that they're building, and maybe they're loading this farm system so they could get top-tier guys to win now. And then at the same time, you want to be careful that you don't want to trade all your guys you drafted and then don't win anything, you have nothing to fall back on. So it's something to keep an eye on with Arizona. Number 19, the New York Mets selected Pete Crow Armstrong, outfielder, Harvard Westlake High School, California. This is the third consecutive a grade of a B+. This is the third consecutive year that the Mets take a high schooler in the first round. Jared Klenick, outfielder, 2 years ago. They traded to the Seattle Mariners. Don't get me started on that trade. For Robinson Cano, Edwin Diaz. Horrible mistake by general manager Brodie Van Wagenen. And then last year, they drafted third baseman Brad Beatty, who actually happened to win the New York Penn League with the Brooklyn Cyclones. And now Pete Crow Armstrong. I like this player a lot. Very good defensively at center field. The Mets needed a ton of outfielders. Oh, and just two interesting things about the Mets quickly. Number one, Crow Armstrong's mother was in a movie about baseball. Number two is that in the later rounds, that the Mets drafted somebody who went to a high school. The guy's name was Riley Green, a third-round pick from Corona High School in California. And you must be like, so with the 20th pick in the MLB draft, the Milwaukee Brewers selected Garrett Mitchell, outfielder, UCLA. I give that grade of an A+. Mitchell, great value here. He can learn a lot from Christian Yelich, who is the heartbeat and heart and soul of the Milwaukee Brewers outfield. And maybe Mitchell and Yelich will play together at some point one day. And he's also swings from the left-handed side. Great value pick here for a college player. Next up, the St. Louis Cardinals, Jordan Walker, Decatur High School, Georgia. Grade of a B+. Jordan Walker. Why did I forget to write down his position? But good pick for the Cardinals here at number 21. Number 22, the Washington Nationals select Cade Cavilli, right-handed pitcher, Oklahoma. Give a grade of a B. Max Scherzer, Steven Strasburg's getting older. And they drafted another pitcher in the first round last year. Number 23, Cleveland Indians, Carson Tucker, shortstop, Mount Point High School, Arizona. Grade of a C. Let's see. Francisco Lindor. They were talking about trade talks for him. But Francisco Lindor, I don't know if they're going to trade him. But if the Indians don't, if there's a lockout this year, they're probably not going to trade him. Or if there's no season. Number 24, Tampa Bay Rays, Nick Bitsko, right-handed pitcher, Central Bucks East High School, Pennsylvania. I give that grade of an A+. Bitsko was supposed to go into teens, and this is why the Rays have basically one of the best farm systems in baseball. Period. They have one of the best farm systems because they know how to scout and they know how to evaluate their talent. You got Tyler Glasnow already, you got Blake Snell, and another potential ace to the future. Number 25, Atlanta Braves, Jared Schuster, left-handed pitcher, Wake Forest, grade of a B. Atlanta needs to add some. This was a good call by Atlanta because they needed to add more arms in the system because you have a ton of bats. Other than Kyle Wright and Ian Anderson, who are right-handed pitchers, you're like, we need to work on stuff here with the arms. And in their system, they have outfielders Christian Pache and Drew Waters. And they have Wilson Contreras' brother of the Chicago Cubs in their farm system at catcher. And, yeah, Braves are in pretty good shape. Number 26, Oakland Athletics, Tyler Soderstrom, catcher, Turlock High School, California. I give it a grade of a B. I like the pick because it's from their own state. Oakland needs a catcher. They got some guys, Chris Davis, Matt Olson, Steven Piscotty, Matt Chapman. They got a lot over there. The Oakland Athletics are in good hands moving forward too. And it's an underrated farm system. It's the middle of the pack, but it could be upgraded. Number 27, Minnesota Twins, Aaron Sabato, first baseman, University of North Carolina. I give that grade of an A-. Minnesota Twins needed a first baseman and in their farm system, and he had some pop from the left side. Number 28, the New York Yankees, and maybe this number 28 pick will be good luck for them this year if there's a baseball season for ring number 28, is Austin Wells, catcher, Arizona. Very interesting. General manager Brian Cashman drafts a catcher in the first round in back-to-back years. Is that saying that the tick-tock, the clock is ticking on Gary Sanchez? Do they really not like Gary Sanchez? Do they really think he's that lazy despite his bat? Well, Austin Wells could be a very good catcher depending on what the Yankees franchise wants to do with Gary Sanchez. And they also drafted one in the first round last year. So this grade is a B-. See, I don't understand. Maybe they were just going the best player available here. Number 29, Los Angeles Dodgers. Bobby Miller, left-handed pitcher, Louisville, a grade of a B+. Dodgers are very good at drafting pitching. Their ace of the future is Walker Buehler, and how much more time does Clayton Kershaw have? As a lefty pitcher, and then you lost Hinyu Ryu. And Dodgers, even though the Dodgers trade away all these assets to try to win now, they seem to keep reloading. That's what good franchises do. So the Houston Astros did not have a first-round pick this year due to the cheating scandal, nonetheless, with the sign stealing, nonetheless. So then, after giving the Dodgers pick of a B+, let's go to the competitive balance round A. Number 30, the Baltimore Orioles, Jordan Westburg, shortstop, Mississippi State, grade of a B+. Obviously, remember when Manny Machado was with the Orioles? And I'm just sitting here and I'm like, meh. He was good, but then he was a fan favorite, then he left. So Jordan Westburg, I'm not going to say he's going to be Manny Machado, but, man, you never know, I guess. So maybe general manager Mike Elias knows what he's doing. Number 31, Pittsburgh Pirates, Carmen Molodzinski, right-handed pitcher, South Carolina, grade of an A-. Good pick by the Pirates. They need pitching. They need all the help they can get. But there's a reason why Tyler Glasnow and Garrett Cole succeeded when they left the Steel City. There was a reason why there's a reason why they're pitchers that do well outside of Pittsburgh, because they don't develop them very well. Maybe with the new regime, they're finally developed well, and maybe guys like Jameson Taillon and Mitch Keller have good careers, or they're going to have to ask out of Pittsburgh before their careers get ruined. Number 32, Kansas City Royals, Nick Lofton, shortstop, Baylor, grade of a C. I gave this a neutral grade because I didn't see him in the top 40 on the MLB list. But then yet again, from what they were talking about baseball, they thought he had some potential. And I was more on the lines of like, I'm not sure. I'm not going to give this an F or a D, but I'm not going to give this an A or a B. That's how I felt. Number 33, Arizona Diamondbacks, Slade Ciccione, right-handed pitcher, Miami, Florida. I give that grade of a B. Ciccione, I thought was going to go in the late first round. But the Padres maybe find a potential another ace. Not the Padres, Diamondbacks, sorry. Did I say the San Diego Padres? I meant, sorry, the Arizona Diamondbacks with that 33rd pick with Slade Ciccione, right-handed pitcher, Miami, Florida, the grade of a B. So, Arizona, they're just finding ways to improve that farm system. Whatever they do, I mean, it's working. It really is working for them. And as I'm saying about Arizona, give people credit who's running the Arizona front office. Because, yeah, I thought after they traded a guy like Paul Goldschmidt and Zach Greinke, they thought they were going to be in the toilet for a while. And that's not the case here with the Diamondbacks. Number 34, San Diego Padres, Justin Lang, right-handed pitcher, Leano High School, Texas, grade of a D. Now I know they have Mackenzie Gore, left-handed pitcher, who's supposed to be a stud. Chris Paddock, right-handed pitcher, and he got some other pitchers and some other top-tier bats. And I know San Diego likes to go high school, but the thing with this pick is another guy I didn't see in the top 40 on MLB.com. Justin Lang. I'm sure he's got the potential, and that's why the Padres took him. But I'm not 100% sure how he's going to turn out. Number 35, Colorado Rockies, Drew Romo, catcher, the Woodlands High School, Texas. Grade of an A+. This was an easy one. I thought Drew Romo was also going to go in the late first round. But no, he didn't. He slipped to the Rockies at 35. The Rockies needed a catcher, and they got the guy they wanted. They got time to develop this guy. Another solid bat, and got some potential defensive skills to work with as well. Number 36, Cleveland Indians, Tanner Burns, right-handed pitcher, Auburn. Give me a grade of an A. Now, Tanner Burns was the number 2 last year behind Casey Mize, and he became the number 1 this year at Auburn. Tanner Burns, and he will work just fine with the Indians. Let's see who you got in the Indian system. Oh, yeah, Aaron Civale, Zach Plesac, Shane Bieber. Oh, and you got, what other pitchers you got? Carlos Carrasco, Mike Clevenger. Carlos Carrasco, Mike Clevenger. Those are some very good pitchers there for the Indians. And the Indians are known for their pitching. And they have another guy in the farm system, Ethan Atkins, who's supposed to be pretty good. And now you had Tanner Burns, who I think's got starter potential in the future. Indians just know how to fill guy after guy when it comes to pitching. I mean, they're so deep. I remember talking to an Indians fan about this one time. They're so deep at pitching. Like, in the playoffs, why does Terry Francona need to go with 3-man rotation? I mean, come on. The Cleveland Indians are set at pitching. They got the pitching. They believe pitching is a valuable asset. But now the thing is, the Indians, they just need a hit. And as long as the Indians can hit with their pitching staff, they'll be making the playoffs more times than they don't. As long as Terry Francona is still around and he doesn't have any health problems, they should be okay. Number 37, Tampa Bay Rays, Alika Williams, shortstop, Arizona State, grade B-. Now, this is a B- grade. Listen, Tampa Bay's got Wander Franco. Wander Franco is the best prospect in baseball. He's at shortstop. And Tampa Bay's going to draft a shortstop. This is really got to be for trade bait. It has to be for trade bait. And because you're not trading Wander Franco, and no one's going to be replacing him when he gets to the big leagues. Unless he's going to move to second or third base. Not Wander Franco, but Alika Williams. But I'm not going to sit here and just pretend that this pick was like, really? You take a shortstop when you got Wander Franco, who's going to be your everyday shortstop? I don't understand the pick by the Rays. I simply don't. And those are all the, 37 picks by the Tampa Bay, in the first round and the competitive round, and you had over 160 some odd picks in the draft. So now here we go, transitioning to my last topic for today for the final 13 minutes, maybe a little less. The NFL 4th, 5th, and maybe 6th round of my fantasy draft. As I was doing last week. Number 97 to the Kansas City Chiefs. Jadeveon Clowney. Defensive end. So that's another key player that's taken off my board. Number 98 to the San Francisco 49ers. Nick Foles, quarterback. Number 99 to the Green Bay Packers. CeeDee Lamb, wide receiver. And I happen to have him taking 2 strong corners earlier with Slay and Gilmore. Number 100, the Tennessee Titans select A.J. Brown, wide receiver. So I had him with Justin Herbert, Henry, and Nelson. That's not bad offensively. No, it's not bad at all offensively. Number 101, the Baltimore Ravens select Mark Andrews, tight end. Now, Mark Andrews has actually become one of the better tight ends in football. He's full of grace and wisdom when it comes to the tight end room with the Ravens. And that's why they had to trade Hayden Hurst to the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, he's a solid target for Lamar Jackson, and he'll continue to improve as time goes on. Number 102, the Seattle Seahawks select DeMarcus Lawrence, defensive end. Number 103, the Houston Texans select Tyrann Mathieu, safety. Now, Mathieu, he played for the Houston Texans. That was before he signed with the Kansas City Chiefs for a year and actually won a Super Bowl. And Mathieu, they thought he was maybe the team MVP. Did they actually vote him team MVP? They might have, because of what he meant to them on the back end of the secondary. He could blitz. He could do everything. Number 104, Minnesota Vikings select DeForest Buckner, defensive end. And the Minnesota Vikings with Mike Zimmer, basically speaking, it's like, you need defense. Oh, Buckner and Mack on the same defense? Oh, mercy, have mercy. Number 105, the New Orleans Saints select Emmanuel Sanders, wide receiver. Number 106, the New England Patriots select David Njoku, tight end. That's an interesting offense with Sam Darnold and Amari Cooper, and now you got Njoku at tight end. Oh, and Kareem Hunt. That's a potential scary thought for the Patriots offense. I'm sure Bill Belichick would absolutely love to see something like that. But the odds of that happening in the near future is just like, that's not going to happen. Maybe on a Madden redraft. Number 107, the Buffalo Bills select Micah Hyde, safety. Number 108, the Philadelphia Eagles select Deshaun Jackson, wide receiver. They get a speedster wide receiver in this mock thing for Danny Dimes. Number 109, Los Angeles Rams, Dante Fowler Jr., defensive end. Number 110, Chicago Bears, Kyler Fuller, cornerback. Fuller, basically, it's like, he's actually been one of the better corners in the NFL. And no one talks about him as much for some reason. Maybe it's because, I know Chicago's a big market, but it's attention's on like Richard Sherman and Patrick Peterson, Jalen Ramsey, and no one's talking about Kyle Fuller, excuse me. Number 111, Pittsburgh Steelers, Ben Roethlisberger, quarterback. Number 112, Dallas Cowboys, Grady Jarrett, defensive tackle. Number 113, the Atlanta Falcons, Calvin Ridley, wide receiver. Number 114, Denver Broncos, Justin Simmons, safety. Number 115, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They take Jeffrey Okudah, cornerback. Number 116, to the Indianapolis Colts, Kenny Golladay, wide receiver. Number 117, Las Vegas Raiders, Max Crosby, defensive end. Number 118, New York Jets, Zach Martin, guard. Number 119, Cleveland Browns, Golden Tate, wide receiver. Number 120, Jacksonville Jaguars, Marshawn Lattimore, cornerback. Now, Marshawn Lattimore is one of the best corners in the NFL. He has what? Grayson Klassen basically for in real life with the New Orleans Saints in the secondary, because Marshawn Lattimore, he just holds his own. Very good in the secondary. He's a good shutdown corner. He's top 10, top 15, depending who you ask. Number 121, Arizona Cardinals. I don't understand how I had him slipping this low. Chandler Jones, defensive end. Now, Chandler Jones gets after the quarterback. There's no question he gets after the quarterback. Now, he's not known for basically stopping the run, but you want a guy to get you 18.5, 19.5 sacks? He'll do it for you. Number 122, Carolina Panthers, Andrew Thomas, offensive tackle. Number 123, Los Angeles Chargers, Trai Turner, guard. Number 124, Miami Dolphins, Kevin Byard, safety. He's actually one of the better safeties in the NFL. And he's very good for the Tennessee Titans in real life. And without Byard for the Titans secondary in the safety room, that's probably tough. It would probably be tough for him to replace. Number 125 in the New York Giants, Jedrick Wills Jr., offensive tackle. What I find funny about this in this redraft is that the Giants in real life are debating Thomas, Wills, Wirfs, or Tristan Wirfs, or Mekhi Becton. In real life, they took Andrew Thomas, but I thought they were going to go Wirfs. Wills, I've been like, okay. But I wouldn't have been okay with Mekhi Becton in real life. Number 126, Detroit Lions, Tyler Lockett, wide receiver. Number 127, Washington Redskins, Terry McLaurin, wide receiver. He's becoming a stud for them. Number 128, Cincinnati Bengals, DJ Moore, wide receiver. He's an underrated receiver at over 1,000 yards last year for the Carolina Panthers. And that concludes round 4. Round 5, number 129, Cincinnati Bengals, Geno Atkins, defensive tackle. Geno Atkins is one of the most underrated defensive players in the league. Number 130 to the Washington Redskins, KJ Wright, linebacker. Now, Wright, it's basically 3 guys on Seattle, it's everybody else. Russell Wilson, Bobby Wagner, and KJ Wright. And it's basically, after that, maybe just basically everybody else. KJ Wright would be a good fit with Ron Rivera in Washington. Number 131, Detroit Lions, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, running back. I thought Edwards-Helaire in real life was going to go in the second round until he got drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs in the first round. And Andy Reid's like, wow, this guy can do it all. And I'm sitting here like, he got drafted that high? I thought he was going to be a second round pick, not a first round pick. And then the next pick here at 132, the New York Giants take DeAndre Swift, running back. And Swift is a 3-4 down back for sure. And he's got to work on some pass catching. He could definitely run zone schemes. And he also is a very solid downhill runner. Number 133, Miami Dolphins, Eric Ebron, tight end. Number 134, Los Angeles Chargers, Austin Eckler, running back. Number 135, Carolina Panthers, Mike Pouncey, center. Number 136, Arizona Cardinals, Kenyon Drake, running back. Number 137, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Brandon Cooks, wide receiver. Number 138, I probably have this guy too low, for the Cleveland Browns, Chris Godwin, wide receiver. Number 139, for the New York Jets, Robbie Anderson, wide receiver. Number 140, to the Las Vegas Raiders, Alshon Jeffrey, wide receiver. Number 141, Indianapolis Colts, Melvin Gordon the second, running back. Number 142, Tampa Bay Buccaneers take Tristan Wirfs, offensive tackle. Number 143, the Denver Broncos take Jarrell Casey, defensive tackle. Number 144, the Atlanta Falcons take Desmond Trufant, corner, even though they released him earlier. Number 145, Dallas Cowboys, Jalen Smith, linebacker. Number 146, Pittsburgh Steelers, Leighton Vander Esch, linebacker. Number 147, the Chicago Bears take Roquan Smith, linebacker. Number 148, the Los Angeles Rams take Justin Tucker, kicker. Number 149, the Philadelphia Eagles take Steven Gostkowski, kicker. And last but not least, number 150, the Buffalo Bills take Hayden Hurst, tight end. Ladies and gentlemen, we are out of time here. Thanks for tuning to Glenn's Dynamic Sports Corner. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day and have a good week as well. Nonetheless, I will be back on the air at the same time on Thursday as well. I'll go over some more NBA and NHL topics. I will have some more about the 2020 NFL draft and schedule, and maybe some updates about the MLB, the NFL regular season, MLB opening day. We will see. Nonetheless, and last but not least, use promo code 12OZ Sports, all cash, for deposits up to $1,000 for my bookie. Take care. See you later.